Hello, hello. This is cybersecurity expert Reginald Andre, and I just wanted to kind of give you everybody a very quick PSA. If you are using Zelle for your business or personal, be on the lookout because there was something very interesting that just happened to our business. So we bank with Citibank, and there was a phone call and a text message that came to me personally to to make sure that I was okay with a transaction that was about to be authorized via Zelle. So the message said, let me read it to you right now, since it just happened about 10 minutes ago. It says, we would like you to verify that you are going to be transferring $5,000. Are you attempting to make a Zelle transfer in the amount of $5,000? Reply back yes if this is a valid transaction and no further action is required. So it looks like a typical alert that would always come in through my bank to make sure that it was legit. And I have very good staff, so maybe somebody was working today, not resting, and just kind of following up on a few emails. And I asked my COO, I asked a few other people in the office that have access to our bank account, and they all said no, they're not working today. They're not doing any type of transactions. So I immediately responded back on the text message, and I put no. A few minutes later, the text message says, or a few seconds later says, thanks for your confirmation. You will be receiving an incoming call from one of our representatives within the next 2 to 3 minutes. And of course, 2 to 3 minutes comes in, and I got a representative. So the representative wanted me to verify if I was making a transaction, one for $5,000 via Zelle. And Zelle, if you're not sure what that is, it's kind of like a wire, but like a more modern day of wiring money. And it's just a more faster way, efficient way. And a lot of businesses and personal people, they use that. So he asked me if I was trying to transfer the money. I said no. He says, well, what about another transaction about $4,000? And I said, no, that wasn't me either. And then he says, okay, well, there's this other one more transaction for $500. Was that you? And again, I said, no, none of these were anybody in my staff. I verified with everybody. So he says, okay, well, we have to start the transition because it's already processing. And he says, so you don't know anybody named William Henderson, is what he said. And let me tell you, this guy I'm speaking to wasn't someone overseas. It wasn't someone from maybe another country or, with an accent or anything. It was like an American guy. If I would guess he was an African-American guy. So I didn't have any suspicions as far as, anything about the conversation. And from there, he says, okay, well, I'm going to have to wait for my fraud department to get back to me in Zelle and give me a few minutes, and we're going to see what the next step is. So then he says, okay, they just got back to me, and they said that we're going to have to reverse the dollar amount because they basically tried to steal $10,000 from your account. And what we're going to try to do is we're going to try to reverse this because if it goes through, yes, you're going to be able to dispute it, but they're going to have your $10,000 on hold for about 90 days. So he says, if we can go ahead and try to get this reversed now, that way your $10,000 is on a hold process where you're not going to be able to use it. So I said, okay, tell me what you have to do. So he said, okay, I want you to go on your Bank of America mobile app, and I want you to follow these steps. Okay, no problem. Went on the Bank of America mobile app on my business account. And from there, he says, okay, I want you to go to Zelle. And then he says, add recipient. So from there, I didn't think too much about it, but I was like, okay, I'm just following your steps because maybe there was another option within there. And then from there, he says, okay, so what we're going to have to do is we're going to have to transfer the money back one at a time. So they try to take out $5,000, $4,000, and about $500 to $1,000. And he told me to say, okay, I have the authorization codes, and I want you to type in these authorization codes. And I see a lot of people watching right now, and some people just coming in. And so please definitely hit the rewind button because you're hearing our journey of what just happened, of how we almost fell for a $10,000 fraud. So now he says, here's the authorization code. And he said, put in 954431 and some other numbers. And for me, I'm like, wait, this doesn't sound right because why am I having to put I'm adding a recipient inside my Zelle. I'm putting in a 954 number, which here in Florida, or in South Florida, that's an area code. 954 that's actually my area code. And then he wanted me in the name to put in my first name and my last name. And from there, I was like, whoa, this is fraud. This doesn't sound right, because, for an authorization code, for the first 3 digits to be an area code, and then for the last 7 numbers, and when you put the 7 and 3 together, that's 10 numbers. That's actual real phone number that he wanted me to transfer the money to. And I immediately hung up the phone call. And what I did is I went in back on my bank card and I called the 1-800 number from there. Now, today is September the 4th. It's Labor Day weekend, and the bank is closed. When I tell you it's closed, I tried every single department. I hit, trying to add a new account. I put all of the different departments, and nobody would take the call. Everybody it's a bank holiday. Please call back on Tuesday. So then from there, I went through my contacts, and I had a good friend who works for the bank. He's actually my account manager. And I first texted him, and he didn't answer. And a few minutes later, I said, let me just call him. I'm sorry it's a Sunday, but let me call him. And then I told him, I said, hey, Sam, this is what's going on. The guy sounded American. Everything looked legit, but, and then he says, well, do you see the William Henderson name on the recipient of Zelle? And when I looked, it wasn't there, because we don't use Zelle. We use Zelle mostly for contractors. So there was no name in the contacts for William. So this was another, point to show that it was fraud. And then he also told me that the bank will never call me. They're going to send me an alert, and through the app, they're going to show you the number of what number you should call. So, and then from there, that's when I realized, oh my gosh, had I done that process, had I not been cyber aware, and we're a cybersecurity company, and look how far it took me, where one more step, if this was one of your employees, and one more step could have been out of the hole with $10,000. And then I asked my friend, Sam from the bank, I was like, well, let me ask you a question. Let's just say I did do this. I did do the $10,000. Would I have been able to dispute that with you guys? And he says, absolutely not, because Zelle, once you send the money, that's it. You can't, because you sent it, because you're admitting that you sent it, even though it was fraud, that's it. You lost the money. So I just wanted to give this public service announcement to please educate your team, educate your staff, educate your grandparents, educate your parents, anybody that has a bank account. For this to almost have happened to me with one more step of putting that, $4,000 and hitting the submit button, that would have been disastrous. So I hope you found this, hey, look, I'm not even prepared. I just put on this shirt. I don't even have my Arc Solver shirt. I just wanted to turn the lights on. I'm actually going to go to the water park right now, but I wanted to give this PSA announcement because it's perfect timing. Because if it's a Labor Day weekend, you can't get a hold of your bank. And I mean, we're talking one of the top banks here, and you can't even call their 1-800 number. And now on Tuesday, when you realize this is happening, you're calling your bank, and by that time, the money has moved probably 10 times over, and then the bad guys even get it, because most likely whoever they were selling that money to, then from there it gets wired somewhere else and so forth, and it's just a long journey. But either way, we wouldn't have been able to get their money back. So share this, tell your friends, be careful, tell your staff, be careful, and cyber awareness training is so important. And I'm glad that even as a cybersecurity expert, I'm still a student. I'm still learning, and it's so important that you also make sure that your circle is always learning. All right, take care. Please like and share Arc Solvers. We're a cybersecurity company in Miami, Florida, and it almost happened to us. So if it can almost happen to us, it can definitely happen to you, because it just takes that one time, that one human error. Take care.